Now, let's see how we can find the coordinates of a point dividing the join of 2 points in a given ratio. So let's say you have a point A and a point B, right? And if you have to find the coordinates of a point that divides the line segment AB in this ratio, you can find that the coordinates of that point using this method, right? So if you have a plane, right, this is the y-axis and this is the x-axis. Say you have this point here as A. Say you have this point here as B, with A having the x value of x1 and the y value of y1, B having the x value of x2 and the y value of y2. Now, this is the line joining A and B. And say you have this point here. Let's call it Q. And you need to find the coordinates of this point Q. And it says that the line that goes from A to Q is of this distance, K1. And the line that goes from Q to B is of this distance, K2, right? This K1 and this K2. Then you can use this method to find the coordinates of this point Q. This over here will give you the x value of Q, and this here will give you the y value of Q. Now, it's not necessary that this will be the distance between A and Q, and the K2 will be the distance between Q and B, right? Basically, let's say that the distance between A and B is, well, 2. And K1 and K2 must equal to 2, right? So, for example, if K1 is, say, 1.2 and K2 is, say, 0.8. So 1.2 plus 0.8 is equal to 2, right? But again, there's another way to go about this. It says that the ratio of K1 and K2 must be given to you correctly, right? So K1 divided by K2 is equal to 1.2 divided by 0.8, which is also equal to 0.6 and 0.4, right? If you divide both of them by 2. And this can also be equal to, if you divide it further by 2, 0.3 over 0.2, right? These are all the valid ratios for this. Instead of dividing by 2, you can also multiply them by 2 or any constant really, but the ratio must be valid. Okay, the ratio must be valid, and if the ratio is given to you, you can find the coordinates of Q, right? So let's see what the inclination of a line is. A very simple concept, really. It says that if you have this line L, right, in the plane, then the inclination of L is basically the angle that is measured counterclockwise from the positive x-axis, right? So you have this line L and you draw this angle from the positive x-axis. That gives you alpha, and that is the inclination of the line L. So another example would be if you have this axis over here, right, and say you have this line over here, then you can basically draw from the positive x-axis, start drawing a circle counterclockwise and end it at this line. Let's call it the line P. So this angle beta is the inclination of the line P. Okay,